Hello everyone, welcome to some more FACEIT action. We're going to be watching ENCE versus VP today, which is a pretty big one actually in terms of where these teams sit in the power rankings. I think especially after Esports World Cup and Virtus Pro's good showing there. I think there was a lot of expectations or raised expectations for Virtus Pro. They've had a few issues with Shockwave's availability in all of this, so that's kind of held them back a little bit. But this will be a good test of them. We saw ENCE beat SSG earlier on in FACEIT this week as well, which I think really for a lot of people, you know, like form power rankings, hard not to put ENCE top. I think we would have had maybe ENCE and SSG at the top. So if Virtus Pro get a result here, maybe they are the best in the West. Well, give or take a Toronto. So I think a lot of interesting things. I know ENCE have also had availability issues with Chase too. So we can take a look at the standings for where we are now. There we go. And this is the live match. We're 4 minutes out from the map draft starting. We can take a look at the standings as well. Maybe not EMEA Open or NA Open. We can take a look at EMEA Master, and that might be more relevant. And there we go. ENCE at the top, 11-0. Hoping to complete the perfect run in playoffs. Seems quite reasonable. I feel like normally I have a chat here as well, but it's not super working, but that's okay. Drop a refresh and maybe it'll kick back in. But standings-wise, I think the big surprise is obviously ENCE over SSG. I think it's fair to say all three of these teams are pretty safe and set. I think similarly, EXO and Gaming Gladiators, despite some of Gaming Gladiators' recent troubles, are actually pretty set as well. There's going to be some battles down here, I think, to finally get into top 8. Obviously, remember, top 8 go through. We will be watching Super Shy against X-Oblivion later. Obviously, X-Oblivion maybe not capable of going up too much, but want to seal their spot above Gaming Gladiators. Obviously, Gladiators, I think, are going to forfeit the rest of their FACEIT matches, so it might be a real door-open situation for X-Oblivion. Meanwhile, Super Shy, really hoping if they can get another upset over X-Oblivion, because it's going to be pivotal in them trying to climb into this top 8. Artemis confirming EXO can only get 4th there, yeah, so no real upwards momentum, but obviously, EXO, I think, will be keen not to drop anything to Super Shy. In theory, this should be a pretty straightforward one for X-Oblivion, but we've said that before against Super Shy, and it's not worked out to be true. So they'll be hoping for redemption here. But for now, we'll keep our eyes locked firmly on ENCE versus VP. Obviously, you can imagine a situation where VP can get a win here, and they go to 11-1, and ENCE go to 11-1. And then, obviously, even a chance for SSG to go to 11-1 as well. So we get a really tight thing in the FACEIT, at the top of the FACEIT League this season. So I think the important thing, obviously, is it's all about seeding, right? All of these teams locked for top 8, but nice to get seeding, especially when you think how scary this top 3 is. You have to think what will happen is the way the bracket will go. It will be like, let me draw it for you. There'll be 1 and 4 on one side of the bracket and 2 and 3 on the other side of the bracket, right? So if you can get first place and you dodge the other two teams, so let's say ENCE win. If ENCE win, they will dodge SSG and Virtus Pro until like the upper finals. That'd be pretty good, you know? When's the game starting? In a couple of minutes, actually. We're a few minutes off the map draft starting, and then we'll get into lobby and stuff. Which does obviously remind me I should sort out the HUD for when we go in game. That'd be good. So give me a second while I get that ready. Where am I looking? There we go. All right, there we go. So predictions for this one, I think it has to be an ENCE sweep. I think we're really looking at. I think they've looked really good. The meta feels a little bit like it's leaning back over to D.Va more than it was. I didn't see the games live earlier in the week when we watched SSG take on ENCE, but it felt like playing the Pharah Ashe really meant more of the D.Va stuff became almost a necessity. Obviously, ENCE want to play a lot of that because they have Vessler in, and he's much better at D.Va than he is at Winston. But in this particular matchup, the same is actually true for Rajaro, right? So I think we'll see a lot more D.Va in this matchup. We saw both teams try Ana Lucio at times. We also saw Gala play a lot of Kiri in that series. So we'll try and see how that one falls. I think it's really interesting because when I look at the career games, I think it's really just feels still quite a heavily Winston meta for the most part. But we're also seeing more Tracer than we are Pharah. when I was watching that SSG ENCE series earlier, I think actually a lot of the D.Va Pharaoh engages where they try and nano the Pharaoh in and the D.Va goes, actually a sort of Anna Brig type backline have a really hard time dealing with that. So we'll get into the match soon. Let me give Unter a knock. Where is he? Right, I'm knocking. Would he respond to the call? Hope so. As we get into the map draft here, so to be fair, because they have similar strengths, similar weaknesses, I also expect we'll probably see similar maps in the pool for both of them. Alright, he's responded to the knock. He's in the voice channel.
Hello.
We've connected. How you doing?
He is. Ah, wonderful. Ready to watch some quality Overwatch?
I'm excited for it. ENCE on top, best in the West, give or take Toronto.
Yeah, best in the West, give or take a couple of teams. Actually, no, it's not fair to say a couple, you know, because SSG, after that recent performance, their time is up.
You're calling it? I mean, I did it in my power rankings as well. I called the ENCE over SSG.
So, oh, you called that?
I called it 2 weeks ago, mate. Fuck.
How did you know this?
Just instinct, mate. Just, you know, sometimes you just have like the vision. You can just see the future.
Okay, well, I mean, that seems like something that, you know, if you had that ability, maybe you would use it on something more useful than Overwatch predictions, but, you know, you do you, I suppose.
I actually have the ability to see all sorts of things in the future, but I thought mainly just to, you know, make myself look like 10% smarter in my power rankings video was probably the best use of that.
It's like you could be averting natural disasters right now, and instead that's what you're doing with it. So, you know, well done you.
Thank you. I'm happy with it.
Yeah, not too shabby. I guess we get a quick look at this draft here, see what we're working with.
That's a bit of a
Nepal.
Because presumably both teams kind of want the same maps for the most part, right? I feel like we've seen both teams run fairly similar compositions.
Yeah, I was thinking, like, this just looks really difficult for VP, given ENCE is a D.Va team, and VP's biggest strength is just double flex that they can barely play anymore. Like, I think if they just wind up in, like, a Lucio D.Va matchup, it's just going to be, like, an uphill battle for poor VP. Because, yeah, how the fuck do they beat, like, Kev, Vess, Kellex in that matchup? Like, Galar's just going to whiff his beats and it's all going to be over.
Well, there's no draft advantage, right? There's not many maps. You can, maybe like Blizzard World would be the except something like that, where maybe they can get away with like an Alari Anna type thing and an Alari Bap type thing still. But it feels like we saw him. I think was it Kings Row? They ran the Bap Kiri still, which is a bit of a throwback. But I think the map pool really doesn't lend itself to loads of maps you can actually do this on.
Yeah, I think they were just like spinning the wheel with the comps, like the flex support comps a little bit, to be honest. Like they did a bit of like Batkyrie or something. They swapped over to Lucio as well. Like it doesn't seem super consistent. And then I don't know. Like this is going to be a fucking proper uphill battle for Virtus Pro because I feel like everything is just going to wind up in a samey matchup where ENCE is that 5-10% better. Maybe Shockwave being in the server will help though. You know, yesterday. I think a lot of the reason why the match was a dogfight is because it was Cloud on Ashe, yeah. And that's probably not a big bonus. It was making it look a little closer. But it was good for like the orange propaganda content, you know?
Yeah. Well, Shockwave has just subscribed as well to my channel, so hopefully that's an indication that he's in and around or near a computer in some form.
It actually pisses me off so much to hear that Nicky's giving you money and not me. That's
what?
I hate that guy. I think it's so much.
It's obvious which way his bread is buttered, and he's buttered the right side from my point of view.
Yeah, I mean, like you know, you can enjoy your fucking buttered bread. We'll see, Nicky. We'll see who gets the last laugh. You eat your dry toast.
You eat your dry toast, mate.
Yeah, no, I'm going to enjoy this nice dry bread from 4 days ago. Yeah.
So was that your prediction then? Just like a 3-0? A quick
one? I think 3-1. I think
3-1.
Maybe a 3-0 is a little excessive, you know. I've got to bank on at least a little bit of content, a bit of excitement. But overall, you go to any map, like super dive heavy map, everyone's just gonna be playing Diva everywhere, right? Like no matter what. You go to Circuit, you're playing Circuit versus Kev Kai versus Stola. They probably will go to Circuit in the draft, right? Like one of Circuit or Junkertown with double flex stuff. I think they need to play the double flex stuff as much as they can. But you know, there's just the Vestola edge. You know, wherever Vestola, I mean, wherever double flex is good, Vestola is probably going to go something we can just dominate. And double flex has looked so weak now.
Yeah, I think there's maybe an argument that it's still like, because I think some of Virtus Pro's initial success came from the fact that not too many other teams were doing it at the time, right? So it was still kind of like a unique look where teams don't have a lot of practice against it, all of this. But I feel like that's probably also faded over time as well. So it's going to be Lijiang, Kings Row, Runasapi, Suravasa, Junkertown.
It's like it's going to be lots of Diva then, eh? Like a whole lot of Diva.
Yeah.
I think we've seen Diva on every single one of those maps. Actually, I haven't seen a Junkertown in a hot minute, but all of those other maps, I think we've just seen like perma picking Diva from VP.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I actually think every point. And then like all of these matchups too, you know, like Sauna v Kevster on like these flex DPS things. I mean, I think you know who I'm going to back there. We're really gonna have to. We're really gonna have to pray for an overperformance from Nicholas in this case.
Yeah, I think it's really hard. It's like if you just go across the roster pound for pound, probably pretty much all in favor of ENCE. Maybe unless you like you said, unless you get that double flex situation, then Gala over Kelex maybe becomes a no-brainer on those heroes. But yeah, I think I watched back the ENCE versus SSG one, and it just felt like they were just a cut above in everything. Like finding more advantages, hitting more nades, Sky having way more impact than his counterpart. And it just seems like they have a really good read on how to play that version of the matchup. And I think Kevon Farah as well was like a really big problem for SSG as well. Maybe like playing Diva more often or rolling out on it more often as well from Rajara will negate some of that, but I don't know, it's still really hard, right?
Sorry, I was just getting some money, so I had to do the lip service. You know how it is.
Oh yeah,
do you know what an on-screen celebration is?
It just like whatever. I think it's like whatever emote they have, it just appears on your screen. But as for streamer, you don't see it, which is a bit of an oversight maybe on Twitch's part. But all
so everyone else saw it.
Yeah, everyone else got to see that emote just burst all over your screen.
That's nice. Nero's got the whole streaming thing figured out to a T, dude. He knows how to rally the troops to get money flowing into my wallet. I want to know where BullsConk is.
All right. Just waiting on ENCE now. Oh wait, Shockwave's giving you a condition. Oh, you've seen.
Yeah, no, I saw.
Yeah, so you're at least, honestly, mate, you're only a couple of years away from that sub then.
Yeah, I mean, it's actually, I think I could like point the crown of my head at the camera and get the sub right now. You know, there's hair slowly falling out. It grows everywhere but my head, unfortunately. Yeah.
That's all right. You get a few more of those subs, get yourself a hair transplant going, and then we're cooking.
Yeah.
Do you think the Farah's better now? Over the Tracer in these type of matchups? Like the Farah Ashe is actually the way forward, not the Tracer anymore?
Sorry, I need you to repeat that. There's some Ukrainian in my chat causing a fuss.
Is Farah the way forward now? Like Farah Ashe over the Tracer in a lot of situations now?
It looks really good on the maps where Farah is strong, you know, like Lijiang Garden and stuff like that. Every time I see people picking the Farah, it's like I would never think the Tracer isn't good on Garden, but somehow like the Farah team is just always edging it out. It could just be an issue of Sauna dying on Tracer too, but Farah looks so
catch
strong.
Every rocket.
Yeah, I think it's better on like Lijiang Garden. I think Tracer should still be like really strong. Like, you know, be fucking for real right now. Chase Torch in 2 minutes. Be fucking for real. I don't know. This is terrible news. Is he refusing to join the lobby? Is that what this is?
Who, Chase?
Yeah, Chase is asking for something that's missing. You know what I mean?
Well, he's benched.
Oh, he is benched. It's Vess in the lineup. Okay, it's just a non-issue then.
So yeah,
yeah, it's like, dude. For a second, I thought the cut was serious. You know, like get a fucking. No,
this isn't.
grip,
This isn't
dude.
like a gun to your head situation. This is just like there's no gun.
Yeah, no, he was just asking for something that I don't like a deal breaker deliverable is how I would put it. So it would be actually crazy if he could just keep his fucking mouth shut. You know. Maybe one more power outage, Chase. That would be clutch. In 2 minutes.
A 2-minute power outage coming right up. All right.
Yeah.
All right, so Shockwave's in. That's good news if you're a VP fan. Bob do something is also in, which is good news if you're an ENCE fan.
Yeah, well, I'm a massive ENCE fan. Why is that streamer mode? Like, it's a streamer mode name. It's unbelievable. I do feel as if, to be honest, this if Kev just rolls out on Tracer here, I would have no issue. I was trying to say that, you know, maybe Pharah is good, but and like this is a good Pharah map, right? You can float around on the high grounds, but Pharah's probably like completely insanely broken on King's Row, you know, like it's just King's Row because the first point kind of sucks for Tracer. That's where we're seeing it insane amounts, but on a map like this, like it's a Tracer playground. We are seeing the Ashe Pharah on the side of VP, so maybe they watched the stream and made a judgment based on that. You know, I was gassing it yesterday, and now they've come into a probably unfavorable comp situation. Like Kev just has complete control the point side, and objective pressure is going to be a really, really big problem for them. Galar tries to mark it, and immediately he's just negative health.
Oh, he actually gets for recall out. They've lost Vess's mech while they're doing this, though. Rajara's also gone super deep, lost his mech, so I guess D.Va's pretty disposable. And VP actually have all of the space off of that, but here comes Sky to try and contest point as well. So it's a 2v2 on point for Kiri Tracer. Meanwhile, Shockwave's trying to gatekeep Kai at the back of a point here, but somehow, someway, they've lost that fight on point, and Gala's going to get one more touch, but here come the Divas. So it's just kind of a reset of first fight right now. More pressure onto Gala. Will skirt his way out of that one. And we're just into a slow first fight still. Quick flip back for ENCE.
Yeah, I think the flip back, even though, you know, there wasn't like any meaningful trade, it was just like an even tank trade. It's just so difficult for the side of VP to actually maintain the point, you know, when they don't have a Tracer, when Kev can just keep playing point side all the time, dodging the Pharah. It's really difficult to maintain point control. I think it's going to be a big issue for them. Mirrored Kiriko ults now out in the open. But, you know, Kev's just flanking around with a pulse bomb. He might be able to catch something. Looks like no. Looks like Kanale's got his number.
Oh, they catch Sauna actually there, yeah. Just trying to hold that left-hand side, but Kev finds the timing. They've got the point flip, but they're a player down, and they're all stuffed back in his choke now. Be up for Gala if they want to keep this one contested. I imagine they do. Bob will come out first, but they actually just try and disengage for Bob, but Shockwave doesn't get out of there. So it's just going to be, again, a cheap retake for ENCE, and I don't think VP are actually really getting out of this one.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know why Sauna is investing the barrage here. Like, I'm not sure what universe he thinks this is a winnable fight or where he thinks that's a valuable trade. Maybe he wants to get off the Pharah, go over to the Tracer. That's the only reason that I can think of. And there it is. There is the Tracer swap. So I suppose not much of a surprise. You're going to have to carry this one.
All right, beats in play now for both teams. Pulse Bomb's still up for Kev. Shockwave does have Bob to kick in his fight off, though, and looks like he's looking to send that one to point. Catches Kev, actually forces an early recall, which forces the beat out, but they kill Shockwave before Gala's beat comes back. Sky manages to die in all of that as well, so it's actually a 4-for-4 trade. He was low on the side of ENCE, and as a result, it's kind of just, with that Kiri kill, it's kind of just over before it starts. They know they can't really keep this fight going. They're just going to stall it out. Vessler will bomb. Don't think they can kill the baby here. There's a massive Lucio gap on the side of Gala. And now that's going to force ENCE all the way back to the choke. Vessler's still stalling out point for now, but he will be demexed shortly again, and they will get this flip. ENCE do get it all the way up to basically 1-5 win territory as Kev is still stalling this out again. But Kitsune rushes in play, and really just comes out to quite a messy beat trade from both teams. Kitsune rushes back now too. Bob advantage for Kai as well, of course. Last time they were just mirrored. I imagine they will keep doing the same thing here. Vesta's going to go try and get an early touch here. Sky will TP in air, drops this. Kitsune rushes. Rajaro is still coming back, so they have to wait this one out. Shockwave's pretty committed. Will coach across the choke, but Picking up their players from spawn has cost them this retake again, but they have to commit to it. They don't have time to concede. They will try and pocket Rajaro through on point, but Kitsune Rush doing wonders for that, but it means for Kitsune Rush is really just to use defensively rather than offensively. They'll be able to stall this one out. They don't have control of a point, but they do have Sauna coming in the flank with a pulse bomb right now.
Yeah, it is looking like Kai's Bob could be a bit of a difference maker here, and even bigger difference maker is when Sauna decides that he's going to fold to Kevster with a pulse bomb in the back pocket. And now, I mean, it's looking like a bit of a death knell for Virtus Pro. Shockwave nearly coach guns off the map, but he will just be saving stats over in Africa. Yeah, not ideal. Not ideal for the Virtus Pro guys. Looked like there was a sign of life there, at least they didn't get 100, at least they were able to almost retake the point once. But, yeah, looking about as expected, to be honest. Maybe we'll see something different here on Night Market, or maybe we'll just see the continual hit-scan Tracer D.Va Lucio matchup for, like, the entire series. Because looking at the draft, it does kind of feel like that's where we're headed.
Yeah, it's the nature when two teams have the same strengths, right? They're just pretty happy just to keep taking this mirror and try and edge it out. Really, the whole first round has felt a little bit untidy from both teams, right? Like, random picks, like Sauna dying before the fight, Sky dying during the beat trade. A few messy things that just sort of led to really scrappy fights. And it does look like we're getting something different. You ever seen a Zarya before?
This is interesting. A bit of Zarya, Bap, Cash in the current year. This is something I haven't seen for a very long time. I'm interested to see the theory tested here. I think we saw a little bit of this in Korea earlier this month, or maybe a little bit earlier still. I've kind of lost track of time and space. And I do think that on paper, Zarya is quite good into the D.Va, and Cass can play really aggressively in this comp, just walk forward, take aggressive angles, swing wide. It doesn't really work if Kai just falls by the wayside. I think it was a big mistake for them to try and rotate to the point after using double bubbles. Vestolo was pretty undisciplined with his bubbles. He was very low energy, maybe 38, and after 2 bubbles, he got absolutely nothing. So for 2 bubbles, 38 energy, going for a rotation after that is crazy. You really need to be smoother with that. You need to have bubbles for the rotation, or massive energy at a minimum. So that, I think that was more of a play issue than a comp one.
Yeah, I think the theory, if they can get it working, where they can have Kai take a load of pressure, Vest gets the energy, then that timing on their next set of bubbles becomes so dangerous with a high energy Zarya. But right now, they get an early lamp forced onto Sky. Sky's going to keep rotating. They do pocket and bubble him out of it, but I think that means Vest is still not at great energy. They're going to jump in, they catch Gala, and, well, I guess another way to solve a problem or win a fight is if your hit scan just clicks on enough faces, and Kai's done that for him here.
Yeah, the thing about this comp is Kai really should have free reign. If Kai can just walk super aggressively into some of the most aggressive angles possible, Vest is just going to be behind him, a bit of a sentinel, able to pop a bubble on him and actually keep him going in that aggressive space. So I think you're probably going to see a lot of high performance from Kai in this comp, because it's actually really heavily hinging on him doing that. If he doesn't play like that, then the comp will just fall by the wayside.
I think, again, we see a thing where they just don't quite have the clean follow-up. Kaneo gets a little bit separated here. And again, it's when they get forced to the back of a point area especially, it just feels like a really claustrophobic area for this Bap Zarya cast to try and play. They're going to bubble Kevster out here to try and take some space. Forces a Suzu onto Kaneo. Spamming Shockwave back now as they try and rotate. And now they'll force VP to the back of point. Going to window on top of this one as well. So VP will concede all of it as Vestler tries to tiptoe that objective.
Yeah, I think really not the best fundamentals there from ENCE, to be honest. They threw down the window, but then they only had one person touching for the longest of times. The window was in a place where most people just wanted to stand off the point to touch it. Big beat and grab coming out though, so maybe they're going to turn this around. Sky and Vest both so incredibly low though, and this could be basically 100-0 coming out with that grab and beat both not getting enough. It looks like this comp gambit could have just, completely failed to pay any dividends.
Yeah, it's going to be one last touch from Kellex. He's awfully low. I think he will die here. I don't know if anyone's even got another touch. No, not even close. And yeah, I think the problem, what's nice, I think, and a big part of the reason why they run the BAP in this competition is because you have 2 bubbles for your Cass, you have a lamp for your Cass. So if the other team wants to kill the Cass, they either have to bleed out loads of resources over a long period of time, or they have to feed a load of energy, and it just takes ages, right? So then either your Cass can get enough value in that time, or your Zarya can get enough value in that time. But there was like a couple of times there, Kai's just dead before Lamp, and with that, it just becomes a little bit too easy for VP.
Yeah, I mean, look, at the end of the day, I think that, like, all of the issues that we saw from ENCE there, like they were things that could be pretty easily fixed, you know, just like little understanding problems about how they're going for the rotations after Vest has used his cooldowns. Their ult play, like they're not stepping properly with the windows, basic neutral fight stuff, but it just hasn't worked for them at all. Now we've got Vestola on the Mauga though, the Mauga May Reaper, and we saw a little bit of this yesterday or the day before. Last time ENCE played a match, we saw this, and Kevster was having an absolute field day on the May, getting really easy walls versus I think it was Hardy for SSG, but now it's looking a lot more awkward for them. They're going up against the double spam comp, Canale on the BAP as well, and this is like I would say a hard counter comp to what ENCE is on, because ENCE, it's going to be so hard for them to find anything to rush down. Kevster walls off one side, catches Sauna, that's typical Kev hitting every shot in the world, but it's not going to be enough, because all they can do is rush down one target at a time, and while you're going for that rush, you're getting spammed by 4 players in the back.
What's really nice about, even though people always associate Control Center as like a brawl map, a really compact and small map, actually, if they get this hold, which VP will now be able to get, where Barash and Bap maybe stand on one high ground near the Mega, but Farah plays on the little high ground opposite, it's so hard for this ENCE comp to clear all these angles at the same time, because the Mauga just cannot run up walls.
Yeah, no, it would actually be so nice if the Mauga could run up walls. I feel like that would solve a lot of the issues of their comp right now, but they are playing the hero that relies on a same vertical plane stun. So I think you'd be better off playing like a Crazy Raccoon and going for the Junker Queen. However, Rajaro has been caught by Vestola's pin, and then Canale goes flying off the map to Bob Do Something, who's definitely not Kelex's boot.
Yeah, they get the cleanup there, the Cole ends up, I mean, they get it so quickly, right? And now, to be fair, this version, this part of the map, now the retake here for VP's comp, will be quite tricky, right? Because now, all of a sudden, they have to walk past that horizontal plane where Vestla can engage aggressively, and they can allow themselves to get value out of these May walls before they can get in a space. So, a lot of pressure on VP to try and create space for themselves to get in here.
Yeah, I mean, looking over to the next fight as well, I mean, needing to retake into a cage is always a scary thing. Cage Blizzard as well, even worse. Bob comes out from Shockwave early in the piece. Galar gets the beat. Bob do something. A solo beat from Kelex. A little bit questionable there. Very glad that I AFK'd on the Lucio PV and got that POV, because that's unreal.
Yeah, it seemed like, at first I was like, oh, okay, ENCE have taken the engage. Oh, okay, they've actually got all this. They're really baiting him in. This Cage Blizzard is going to go massive, and it was just kind of never coming. So I guess they were probably hoping that beat would hit a few more of them. Doesn't work out. They're still coming back with Cage Blizzard here, which should look quite strong. There it is just onto Rajaro. Window to try and break the Cage Blizzard over the top, though. Rajaro boot back in. He surely dies. There we go. Player advantage, though, for ENCE as they try and walk forward, and it's just going to have to try and be, I think, a slow fight here. Shockwave on the high ground will be annoying, but he surely can't carry enough.
Yeah, no, I think that, you know, Shockwave, he's only human. He's only one man. One very dead man as he tries to get out on the high ground. Looks like he is going to stagger himself a little bit. He should try dropping in instead of going for whatever that was, because that was... Yeah, no, it leaves a bit to be desired. And now the next fight, honestly, it's starting to look a little bit scary if you're Virtus Pro. Canale, he's having an identity crisis with his heroes, shooting a sleep out of spawn, then going back to BAP. Sauna's gone over to the May, but he's only 20% on a Blizzard, so he's not even close to that. And the only ult for VP is Rajaro's Annihilation. I think High Noon, Cole, these are both really powerfuls in the Rush Mirror. Vestola, however, early on in the piece, he gets a lot of his health chunked out. He has used the shout, and now, it looks like Rajaro is actually getting backshotted by Vest. Absolutely insane, filthy backshots from Vestola there, taking down Rajaro very easily.
That was just like two full hands worth of backshots into Rajaro there, and despite the Annihilation... You just got obliterated.
Sky's a fucking muppet. No, Sky's an absolute muppet. They're staggering the May, and Sky goes down to that May. That is an unbelievably high-value trade. Now we have no heals alive for the side of Virtus Pro, really. Of ENCE, rather. But Rajaro's on Wrecking Ball. Sauna's had to burn his recall for the touch. Really poor discipline there. Bob comes out from Shockwave onto the point, and that's given Sky enough time to come back on the Kiriko.
Gala now has beat, but Cage and beat are coming up for ENCE. If they get to this timing, which they really should in 30%, you have to imagine, this timing is so hard for them to deal with. They have to try and find something before it, but Vestla's swinging around, looking for Canale. They engage, beat push comes through. They're looking for something. No Cage, no beat quite yet, but they don't find any kills with this beat timing. Now the Cage onto Canale, and he is just trapped in there with a big Samoan man who's beated. They window, they lamp, they try and live, but the ult advantage is just overwhelming.
Yeah, no, they really needed to get something out of that timing with the beat. As soon as Galar committed the beat, we had maybe a 3-second window where if we didn't see a kill, we were just going to see the ults start to flow for ENCE. And unfortunately, it is starting to look like a bit of an easy for ENCE situation, as that ult trade did not go in their favor, and now it's just trickle onto the point. No hope whatsoever.
Yeah, it just works out in the end. That cage timing always so hard to deal with for any comp there.
Yeah.
And even then, they only really got that window just because Sky was in a generous mood.
Yeah, well, thankful that, you know, Sky, he does the boys a solid and gets traded by Sauna 1 versus 9. Really a kind thing indeed. Yeah. It's like rack attack levels of kind-heartedness, to be honest. Let's see if restarting the game here has fixed the audio delay.
Alright, I'll take a quick peep at the scoreboard as we get into the next one. I don't know if we're going to see any startling numbers here. Kai, 24 and 4. To be fair, most of those 4 did seem to come when he was playing the Zarya BAP comp, which was all about pocketing him. But, you know,
yeah, I mean, it didn't really pay off, did it? The Zarya BAP pocket Kai comp kind of just led to a nothing burger. An absolute nothing burger. Alright,
we're still waiting for the next map. I don't know if that means we have substitutions in mind. I guess ENCE would be the only one possible. We are going to... Oh, I forget the map now. Was it King's Row? Anyone with a functional memory in chat?
There's someone with a dysfunctional memory who's here to tell you that it is King's Row.
That'll do. And it does seem like we're going to see Chase, which in theory probably tells me we're going to see some form of dive composition here, which isn't what they actually ran last time against SSG, or at least a Winston version. I
think I heard murmurs of this, you know, complaints as Kursk suffered, you know, incredible shelling and there was a push into Russian territory or whatever, that apparently, even though Vest was dominating playing D.Va on this map, they actually do play Winston here. So it's interesting to see Chase in the lineup on Deadlock, no less. Deadlock, not to be confused with the Valve game. Subbing in Deadlock for this map is an interesting choice. But yeah, I'm actually very keen to see Chase on the Winston, because we've been deprived... I've got Hardy in the chat right now, but we have been deprived of good Winston on a brig in Europe. And maybe this will be the good Winston on a brig that we needed to see, you know?
It's interesting as well, because when I watched that SSG ENCE game back, the Winston version actually felt really difficult on this map. Thank you as well, Zelkova, for the gift. To your other account, seems like a funny way around to do it, but... I'll take it either way.
Give money to yourself, and if you're not capable of giving money to yourself, give it to me and Xavier. That's generally the sage advice. That's what my mother taught me growing up.
I think, to be fair, the attack is a bit easier on the Winston here. I feel like the problem with the defense, if you're the defending Winston, which we'll get to later, is just you get forced to match on point so often. But we'll see what Chase can get going, as we are getting Ashe Genji on one side, Ashe Pharah on the defense here. So we'll see what... Obviously, Tracer not great on his first point, but we'll see what Kev can get going on this Genji. He is going to go through Hotel pretty early, looking for Shockwave.
Yeah, no, he does quite literally just look at him. Not much else. Quick little peep, and he's back to his team. Deflect burned, has to relax for a little while longer. Nice to see Galar up on the Illari, and Chase just... Oh, God, this is the high-quality Winston that we've been deprived of, you know? This is not something that, you know... Top tier stuff as Chase, 1 jump, 1 die, exactly the same as where Hardy died last time we watched this map, actually. So really good to see that Chase Torch, the Ukrainian, is significantly better at Winston. Really good stuff.
Rajaro's job becomes quite simple in this, right? He can really just play to match and bully the Winston as much as possible. If he can maintain space for his Ashe Pharah, then hopefully his Ashe and Pharah can get something going. But Chase, before dying, took a bunch of damage as well, so we're actually on a nano timing for Sky already, which is very early here, so a big problem for VP in this one.
Yeah, no, it looks like he did get the jump pack damagey as well, because that BAP was looking very close to dead despite Kev not diving with him. So the 1 support kill, not a terrible thing, but it's been a 1-for-2 trade, because Rajaro, Shockwave, they both aggressed and managed to get kills on the backline of ENCE. So this is honestly about as good of a situation versus an Nano Monkey as you could ask for if you are a Virtus Pro head. Galar also escapes Kevster's clutches, flies up into the sky, gets into his pylon up in the air, gets a kill with the Captive Sun, and they stabilize. So this is really good for Virtus Pro. That was the turn that needed to be won by ENCE. Once the ults start to come online for Virtus Pro, this is going to be a lot harder for them.
Yeah, beautiful from Galar there. Kev was up with a deflect, wall bangs it instead, hits him with a splash damage, finishes him off. Really tidy. Now we've got Bob and Primal timing here, but like you said, a really scary ult bank here can use for Barrage offensively, can just use it to burn his Winston, make Chase's life hell. And he's actually going to force a lamp onto Shockwave. Bob comes out, and Chase doesn't have a Primal just yet, so he's back in queue.
Every life, he's 20% closer to an ultimate. You love to see it, honestly. With Nano Boost, he's good for 30%. Very impressive stuff. Really nice peel from Kanail there when Shockwave was dived by Kevster. Kev lands on his head, does his signature move of hitting every shot, but the lamp comes flying out from across the map like a discus and saves him. Chase taking so much damage here on the statue, forced to Primal really early, and Shockwave's Bob actually gets Sky. So this is a terrible start. However, Chase has caught Galar and Kev has caught Sauna, so things are not looking great anymore for Virtus Pro. Bad to worse as Chase cleans up everyone inside the connector.
Yeah, it looked for a second. Chase's Primal was forced so early, like he wouldn't get anything, but they all sort of kite into Hotel, and as soon as they all get in that room, suddenly Chase's Primal can do so much, and Rajara's going to get one more touch. Sauna's kind of back with a flank barrage, though, but I don't think he's going to do anything with this, no.
Yeah, no, this is just going to be just a waste of time, really, as they stagger onto the objective, give away a couple more stagger kills. Not sure what the thinking was there.
Shockwave now holding close, will get jumped on. Kevin Chase won't be able to convert that kill. Double pocket onto Shockwave, of course, keeps him safe. Now we have that barrage in play for Sauna, but a healthy bank for ENCE here for the next attack.
Yeah, I'm wondering if we're going to see a famous Nano Blade from Kevster, Kev is so good at cooking his Nano Blades, or if we're just going to see the safe move of a Nano Monkey. That'd probably be better for the economy. Okay, it's looking like Kev wants the Nano for the Blade. But Sky's going to pick the mystery third option where he nanos neither. I see. Hiding when you have a massive ultimate advantage, that makes sense as well. Classic. That's good macro there. Nano has come out onto Chase, and Chase is going to eat up Kanail. Rajaro tries to run away. He's very, very low, actually. Chase gets traded. So it's actually not looking so bad for Virtus Pro. Even though, you know, initially they were super disadvantaged, they're sort of just trickling in and feeding it away.
Yeah, it just seemed like a big miscommunication, right? Sky hiding in house, but Kev's looking for the Blade down main, and it ends up making what should have been a straightforward fight, a messy one. And now look at the ult situation. Suddenly, Barrage, Captive Sun, lots of tools to deal with this next engage here. And Gala's actually kicking it off.
Yeah, no, the flanking Captive Sun has caught both supports. Chase gets Shockwave. If somebody can pop this Captive Sun inside, it could be huge. Ana so incredibly low. Oh, down goes Deadlock, who is definitely not Kellex. Sky does get Rajaro though, but Kanail's good for 2 inside. And Kanail is continuing to duel with Gala. Gala being pocketed by Kanail over in Mozambique, but eventually he does go down. Am I getting this right? Oh no, a lot?
I was going to say, a lot of trades there actually. I mean, the recontest is kind of on here. Rajaro will be back in time. They're going to bob for it, though. They had the touch. There was no one there, so a wasted bob from Shockers.
It's a classic case of Nicky blowing his load a little bit early, to be honest. So much time left for the touch, and Shockwave just throws a bob out. No chance of an uppercut, no nothing. Typical premature Shockwave blowing his load far too early. Not too happy with that. And Kevster still has the Blade though, so we've held the Blade so long that we actually have another Nano Blade potential here. Let's see if he pulls it this time. You see this, Smashy?
Oh, defensive Nano, but Kev's just going to bypass it with the Blade. Dodges the sleep, that's one for Kev. Now he goes back to finish off Shockwave, and he's got it done. Primal on top as well. Rajaro kills the entire backline with Bomb, which seems an unlikely situation, but there it is. It doesn't make a difference, but there you go. The Nano Blade as promised.
Yeah, no, the promised one, finally. This may be the first time in recorded history that Kevster has killed 2 with a Nano Blade. I was really expecting him to eat that sleep there that he dodged from Kanail, to be honest, because there's just something about Kev. He's in his own head about these Dragon Blades. It never seems to work out. Unfortunate, though. Now rolling into the third point, ult economy has more or less completely reset, but Shockwave goes down early in the piece, you know. Oh, incredible sleep there from Sky, sleeping Sauna out of recall, just clapping him out. That is a disaster. Deadlock is Kellex.
And now, they're going to get all the stagger kills here. They get the backline again, and they're rolling this all the way in. No ults just yet for either side, but Shockwave's going to get that Bob, which should give him a decent chance in this recontest. We'll see if he can get to that one, as Chase is hiding behind here, looking for another engage maybe of Sky's timing.
Yeah, these have been some ugly deaths over on the third point. Kevster getting traded really early, too aggressive, just getting double angled out of spawn. His team needed to peek way harder than that for Kev to play a position like that. And this is exactly what VP needed. Their back was to the wall. They didn't have any of these ults online, but now they can just play to sustain. Trusting a European team to win a nano turn is just, it's not going to happen, you know? Sky, he nearly has the nano. He can pop it on Kev. I think you'd honestly do better popping it on Kev without Kev having an ultimate, to be honest. We're probably going to see a nano monkey here. Gala's actually the one to open it up, going for the captive sun very early. Shades of Shockwave with the premature load blowing here. And this is going to be an absolute waste of a captive sun. A total nothing burger.
Now all of a sudden the nano timing's wide open. They do have the Bob and a defensive nano maybe to deal with it here, Virtus Pro, but ENCE are going to be happy with that because they have the rally and stuff to follow up with it as well. So looking for it now. A very early Bob again, so another walk away. Now the nano onto Kev to try and turn it, but defensive nano, and he just gets chewed up there. Looked really disengageable, but ENCE choose to fight. And RB Primal too. Oh, the juggle onto Kaneo. He does get him at least, Chase, but the trades won't cap you third point here.
Yeah,
I mean, it was his last fight, but yeah.
I managed to spectate absolutely none of that through some miracle of Christ. But Kev just not getting the neutral value with the nano. The counter nano was too quick. Honestly, not a bad hold at all for Virtus Pro heads. I've got to be happy with that, to be honest. Not getting full push by ENCE on the dive map. I will say, D.Va does kind of match up well into this stuff, no? Like, D.Va into the double flex team, like, is that better than playing Winston?
I think in theory, yeah. Maybe it depends a little bit on the map. I guess the worry on some of these maps, like the King's Row, once you get like King's Row, Paricio, Dorado length, now the maps become maybe a little bit too long in some places. Maybe outside the streets part of King's Row, that it's too hard to connect. But to be fair, I think my big worry here is on the attack for the Winston team, because I think what happens here is when they're attacking and Virtus Pro are able to use their D.Va to try and just anchor and force point, what the Winston doesn't want to do is just to have to keep matching this D.Va on point, right? So if he just keeps dragged to that, suddenly he has to either engage from main, it's a little bit more predictable, easier to deal with, and then all your nano engages and timings just become not very scary at all. I think that's what we saw happen to SSG a bit here, and we'll see if ENCE have, I guess, a solution to that problem, but I think it will possibly be... They did BAP... Was it BAP Kiri here on the attack last time, Virtus Pro?
I'd like to see them keep playing the Ana, to be honest. I think if you're not going up against a D.Va, having a Pharah and an Ana in play at the same time, it just gives you so many possibilities. Nano Pharah is so broken right now. I think the comp the Virtus Pro are on right now is actually perfect for them for this matchup, you know? They're just playing all of the greed that they can afford. And maybe versus like a really solid Winston dive team, this would, this would be too greedy, you know? It would be too easy for the Winston to chop you up. Their primal turns are going to be super dangerous. But I think that, you just need to favor the attackers here. Like, their ult turns are going to be almost unbeatable. Nano Barrage is really difficult to deal with. Nano D.Va is really strong as well. And you can already see Virtus Pro taking a lot of space out in the open. Chase committing his jump over to Shockwave in main, but that's going to be no issue at all. Now Chase is in a lot of trouble, and Sauna, if you could just shoot where the monkey jumped instead of turning around like a schizo and looking at nothing, that would be great. Rajaro matrixing, not a lot of damage, but enough to keep Sauna alive. But Chase, again, he's out in the open, no bubble now, has back jumped, so it's time for VP to push.
Good nade just about gets Chase out of this. He doesn't get the jump into window though, so Chase is in just more problem after problem for Chase. He will jump out one more time.
Huge burn on the backline as well.
He lives, but he's just ineffective, right? Chase is just always on the back foot. He's never threatening the backline because he's always just too busy carrying his life. And then VP get the entire map, and Rajaro and Sauna will just clean everything up, cover every flank. And this is the worry, right? If they can just keep that pressure on Chase, the ability for Chase and Kevster to be a viable threat just never comes into play.
Yeah, I think, look, it just seemed like they were never able to find the dive, you know? When you're an attacker, you can have the luxury of having crappy Winston play where you literally just play to farm, play to farm, play to farm. And if you can just farm, that's all good. But Chase is doing nothing. None of his jumps are netting a kill. And when you're versus such a greedy comp, you're versus the Ashe, the Pharah, the double flex, you need a jump to lead to a kill. If you're just playing to farm, you're going to lose the neutral. You can't do this as a defender. Galar pops the captive sun, but Kev picks him before he can even fire the shot off.
Well, if you're ever having trouble, you ever got your back against the wall, quite often, if you have a player called Kevin on your team, he might just bail you out of that one there, so just get the save. Gala's going to swap onto Lucio now out of respect, I guess, and Sauna's all the way behind, but they're going to use this timing to go.
I think that's an excellent swap to change over to Lucio, to be honest, because the greediest thing about that comp was the fact that they were on the double flex. The backline's so weak, hard to push in. Kev just tearing it up though. The sleep on Chase could have been fantastic, but Sauna, he's been doing so little damage on the Pharah, he didn't have the barrage. He wasn't able to do anything with that. I think he may also have been floating above ENCE's backline, which is probably another issue for barraging a sleeping monkey in your spawn.
Yeah, a few issues there for him, and it's going to give him a chance to go again. Kev's bailed him out of this one, really reset him. Now Sauna's going to move in. Again, that nano barrage timing is available. And this is the one that's so hard for this Ana Brick backline to deal with. So eyes on Sauna to see if he can get this one done. And actually, they were going to rotate for a flank Bob first, maybe, actually. Here comes Shockwave. Dynamite hits everyone. Kai goes the wrong way. Absolutely deleted. Now the rally inside to try and live here. But the Primal's going. The Primal slept. Bob and Shockwave going to do so much damage to that. And somehow Kev's just killed the Pharah.
Good God. Sauna's spamming rockets from the back, gets ult regret and throws it out once the enemies leave his screen. Absolutely atrocious barrage there from Sauna, equalizing things. There is still the nano in the back pocket for Canale, so there is a chance here, but Galar, he flies too close to the sun. He starts wall riding in the face of everybody and he gives it away. Sauna has received the nano boost though, he gets the Tracer and the Brig before going down to the Bob and Chase together. This is a very even fight now. Rajara catches the anti, but he does have the bomb for the resuit. And Sky has nano boost, so Chase, if he gets really low, he could be bailed out by that. You can see Rajara, he's purely shooting the monkey here. The counter nano comes out, and Rajara, maybe it's time to play for a trade. Maybe go and kill Sky, trade your life out. No, you're playing your life instead, and now the Brig is back. This remake, it should be fine. Maybe this was the right play after all. And Shockwave catches Kai.
Yeah, great catch in the middle of all of that, and now we're at a big disadvantage. Chase is going to jump out one more time, and actually the dive was... Wait, Sky was on a massive flank! They were just trying to trade for backline, but Sky gets nothing out of it, and now all of a sudden, that gambit doesn't pay off, and it's just going to be an easy tap-in for Virtus Pro on second.
Nah, this is a classic play from Sky. We saw it a lot on a Samoa the other day, where even when it wasn't necessary, Sky, he tends to go for these hidden nades, these flank nades. We even saw it on this map, on the second point. They had a nano setup, but instead, Sky's hiding inside, going for a nade. And like, this is, these are very risky plays. You go for that flank, you throw that nade. If it's not a 5-man purple, you're just committing suicide. And we don't need any more suicide bombers in the world. So I think Sky, he needs to calm down a little bit.
Yeah, not going to argue the other side of that one for you. I think you're exactly right about the suicide bomber thing. But now one more dive. Pulse bomb is out. Doesn't catch it. And Shockwave just deletes Chase. No primal. I guess he was slept and all that.
No. Chase heard a tank rolling outside the front of his home and he forgot to press primal in the chaos. Unfortunate, because now this is looking like a wash. Virtus Pro pushing all the way. Sky goes down super late. Mickey again with one of these incredibly rubbish bobs. Actual wank bob that has just done nothing. So not sure what that is about. Chase jumps in. He has the primal. He's burned all of his cooldowns. He's antied 1 health, but he does get it off. But Galar, he has the beat. If there's another layer in this fight, Galar will be ready to answer. It looks like they're just going to kite out the primal, but it's actually not looking so good for VP anymore. If we look up at the top of the screen, Sky and Kellex are both very close to their ultimates. Kai also closing in on it.
Oh, the beat's late for Shockwave. Chase gets the value on the nano engage. Now the rally to live this beat. And Gala's going to maybe even get caught for this. Kev is on the hunt. Gala's in big trouble. Sorda's in bigger trouble. ENCE have found the stabilize. It did cost him 2 ults, right? It did cost him 2 ults. But a much better situation than they would have been. in otherwise.
We can't trust this guy, man. Every time I pop him on Lucio, it's a 3rd-point King's Row. Shockwave gets dived. Gala beats a second too late. It's insane. It's sometimes you need veteran presence like Anj in the server to change these outcomes. Because when you've got someone like Gala, he just doesn't know. He doesn't realize that his Ashe on the high ground needs a helping hand. Because these beats, they just never seem to fucking work out. Gala now going back over to his one trick. Maybe this will work out a little bit better. There's good high grounds for him to play from. If he can actually charge an ultimate, it should be all good. Bob comes out from Kai. Sauna looks like he's living, and this is a wank Bob. This is another pretty weak Bob, so this has been kited completely by Virtus Pro. And Kanale, he's getting dangerously close to his own nano boost. We're probably going to see a nano Sauna turn here. And while, you know, often Sauna does get traded when he receives the ultimate, Farah on 3rd point, it's a very dangerous thing indeed. Chase also doesn't have the primal, so he can't go all the way right now. Sauna conks in, does not catch Kai, gets swept out by Sky, but Shockwave, in the meantime, he catches 2. He gets the Sky-Kai duo, their name synergy resulting in 2 similarly timed deaths. Chase in the backline, he has the primal. Pulse onto Rajaro. Kevsty, you can't be tank sticking at the 11th hour, mate. Come on. We need trades, not damage. And Rajaro still has the bomb. And that's going to be Virtus Pro taking the map 1-1.
Yeah, unbelievable. It looked like they hit the clutch there, right? When they hit the Sleep Pharaoh, Shades of Shu, right? King's Row, Sleep Pharaoh in the final moment, but Shockwave just takes all of that space. Didn't really see what happened to Shockwave, right? You would expect some kind of bubble or something to be preventing Shockwave getting all that freedom to get that value, but nothing to be had. Shockwave finds 2 and VP tie us up.
I'm going to let you stall for a minute as I Google how to fix my audio delay, which has apparently plagued every stream, unbeknownst to me.
Oh.
Yeah, so just keep on waffling while I look into this.
Wait. Let me get my waffle maker out, because I'll cook something up. We can take a look.
This is something I thought I'd fixed, and just furious.
Don't feel bad. It took me 7 months to fix the dual audio on my alerts, right? So as long as it's fixed, ultimately, you'll be forgiven. And we can take a look at some of the numbers here from King's Row, and maybe the one that stands out most egregiously is, of course, Sauna on 11 deaths there. We did see a lot of this value. Even when he did get value, he was always traded for it. So didn't really get what he was hoping for there. Surprisingly enough, actually the most shocking number, and I know Hunter's trying to fix something, but he won't believe this. Chase only had 6 deaths, actually, which feels outrageously low compared to what it felt like watching it. But only 6.
They felt like the worst 6 deaths you've ever seen in your entire life, you know? Every time we were watching it, it was like, oh, wow, that stinks.
It was just like, if you're just blatantly first death in the fight with nothing else happening, it's always going to feel way worse. And I mean, I guess for comparison as well, Rajaro had 3 deaths, right? So, again, the Diva's job a little bit easier in that version of a comp, or in that version of a comp matchup, but still felt pretty good overall. I think no, like, huge standout performance. Maybe Shockwave 26 and 6, good finishes in all these moments, is actually the highest KD. So, we'll move on to Runasapi, which is a map where we've seen dive and stuff before as well. We've also seen the Diva versions too, so I don't think there'll be any surprises if we see a few more of those from both teams. I guess the big eyes should really be on the roster that ENCE have submitted, and Vessler is in, which I think tells us what we're going to see. We're going to see more of this Diva mirror. The follow-up question to that is, do we get the Kiri Lucio version that we saw on Lijiang Tower, or do we get some of the Ana Lucio or Ana Brig versions we've seen in other places? Now, I think really the choice between those 2 backlines all becomes about size of a map, and I think Runasapi really falls into the longer side of things, where the Ana Brig or the Ana Lucio can come into play more often. Likewise, a pretty good map for Tracer as well, so this will be an interesting decision for both Sauna and Kevsa, as we've seen them both play both sides of that matchup. Maybe Kev will go Genji again. Probably not, but you never know.
Yeah, I mean, look, a bit of Kev Genji never goes astray, but I do think when you're on something like Runasapi, you know, you want that car control. You want to see more Tracer. I don't know, like Push and Tracer, they're a match made in heaven. Just permanently, like, having the ability to steal the card away. I will say that on Runasapi, because of how many twists and turns there are on the map, maybe it's the least important map to have that. You know, it's probably the easiest map to stop the card being stolen away, because you can kind of just phase through the walls and wind up wherever the card is headed all the time.
Yeah, I think that's true. As we're gonna get all 10 players in, so we're gonna kick this one off as well. Obviously, we'll wait and see. The DPS choice is probably the most interesting. Maybe also the main support choices. I feel like there was really so much Lucio Ana in play from ENCE earlier in the week, but I don't know how much of that was because they're expecting to play versus for Winston or just the type of map, or if they will just go more to like an Ana Brig. Because you have to feel, especially in a D.Va mirror, the Ana Brig just feels so nice in terms of that ability to win that frontline trade when the Brig can get involved in that D.Va brawl.
Yeah, no, it definitely feels good in the hands. I'm going to need one more waffle from you. Pull out the waffle maker, Xavier.
I've actually, you won't believe this, I've actually got a second waffle maker plugged in, so we've doubled our waffle output at the time.
This guy is so good. Like, you can't beat him.
So we'll get some waffles going, maybe some ice cream to serve with it as well. And I think the big thing we've seen so far is really a really big struggle for, I think, Gala in a lot of these situations. I think a couple of those late beats, and really the heroes that Gala likes to play in terms of Ilari and Kiri. It doesn't feel like he can get away with these on Runa Sapi, so it looks like he might just be sticking to the Lucio. We've seen some dodgy moments, and maybe ENCE are cooking once again. They seem to have gone Sigma Mei here, Cass Bap. It feels like they may be anticipating a bit of a D.Va-based comp, and the Mei obviously so good into that, can keep freezing it, can wall him off. And we'll see how they choose to deal with this.
The Mei's really solid here, but we have seen some weaknesses when they play these Cass Bap comps. They played it on Li Xiang, and it looked like their fundamentals weren't really there. I think they have a lot to deal with the D.Va here with the Mei, with all of this hit scan poke, but at the same time, these are heroes that are liabilities. A Cass, a Bap, these are heroes that you can dive. These are heroes that you can push very aggressively on. However, it is looking like VP are struggling a little bit. They're trying to find that opening. You can see they're setting up. Sauna creeps in behind. Lamp forced out from Sky. The aggressive push is here. The Dynamite, it's so huge. Everyone's 1 health, and it's looking like they are actually going to rot down ENCE. They're all taking so much damage, and it was enough. I think the biggest problem... Yeah, no, you go.
They were just corralled into a corner. All of a sudden, Sky finds himself in no man's land, backs up into a corner. They try and all cower behind Vessela's shield, but that just lines up for the biggest Dynamite you'll ever see. And now we see the D.Va swap coming out straight away.
Too much tunneling on the tank there. They were just watching the tank and they didn't realize that they were being set up on from behind. Canale, Sauna, flanking, getting these really good game-winning angles. Shockwave too. Nicholas, you know, he may not be very good with a bob. He may blow early there, but he's actually very good at getting an aggressive angle on the Ashe. He is an Ashe with legs.
We see him trying to swing through here as well. Gotta try and keep him alive in all of this. Will Coach going away now? Maybe an opportunity for Vessela to double down on his aggression. The wall forces it, but Shockwave's actually going to turn it into a flank, and another big Dynamite from him. Might set up some kills here, but it's actually Gala who falls first, and somehow they weather the storm. There's a Kitsune Rush thrown into it as well. So it's not just a lost fight. What is he bombing? It's not just a lost fight. They're using everything.
It's a loss. This is insane. They're so disadvantaged and they're continuing to pour ults into it. I'm half expecting Shockwave to throw out his bob right now as well. Really? Oh no, Rajara actually gets the trade. I mean, is this worth it? Is this investment at all worth it to get that late trade on the Cass? It's like 1-for-1. The D.Va will be back in time, but D.Va's more important than a Cass for the fight. It's going to be harder to stall the cart now. Sauna, he's no good at stalling either. Oh, actually, a late kill onto Bob Do Something, who's definitely not Kellex. Turn off fucking streamer mode, man. It's so hard to watch. And then Sauna goes down to Kevster. So these trades, they're just messy.
Really hard to keep track of all these trades right now, as both teams just seem to be just getting scattered in these mid-fights. Now coming back, though, still 5 ults on the side of ENCE, right? So they're going to start bullying back Rajara because they do have that player advantage. But no, Bob comes in early. They're going to window it, and that means Bob's life is, well, really going to be cut short. Shockwave gets not just his Bob killed, but himself killed as well. Vessela's hunting down more people. And this is just going from bad to worse for VP right now.
Yeah, no, the only positive here is that the cart wasn't pushing the entire time that they were losing that ult exchange. Kai actually getting one-tapped by Rajaro, but I don't think they're going to be able to touch cart in time. Maybe if Galar was capable of playing Lucio, he would have been able to wall right over to the cart in time, but he was moving very slow. Very, very slow. So he was unable to catch it, and that is going to be a checkpoint for ENCE and a very lean fight. They have 4 ultimates still online after winning that. Very sloppy play from VP in terms of the ult gaming here, and they've lost the objective at the same time. Not ideal.
Everything going ENCE's way. They force out Natsuzu. High Noon swing over the top. They're trying to put more pressure on. Shockwave is trapped by that wall. Another straightforward kill. We see Gala and Sauna trying to flank Rajaro too. They're looking for the trades. They can't deny the remake. They're doubling down. Kellex just beat to be safer. Kitsune rush forward into this fight. Mayo now onto Rajaro. Onto Gala for Suzu. The bomb comes out, but I don't think it will save him. Surely he just get back into mech. Kev still with the dink to deny it. And now it should be straightforward. Sky has another lamp to ensure everyone survives in this one. And they'll get all the cleanup, and this ult investment into fights they're behind is just putting them further and further behind in these next fights.
Yeah, Kev is just an absolute dink machine. Every time you need a headshot, he's there with one. And these ults are just consistently wank. At least now we have a chance for the side of Virtus Pro, a chance to even things up. Sky still has the window, so there's still an ult lead for ENCE, but it's probably not going to last very long. Sky actually pushing up aggressively with Kai on the left-hand flank, and they're going for an inside window. Sky hits triple headshots inside his window, and that is going to clean up Virtus Pro. The only advantage for them is that they didn't have an ult to waste in that fight.
Well, it's one way to, once you're broke, it's really hard to keep losing money, so they managed to stabilize. We're now in a relatively low ult situation. Kev's Blizzard may be coming up soon, a couple of dinks away, but they've maybe got control back. The bad news is, though, they've conceded 110 plus meters for all of this. So Rajaro will meet on cart. In theory, the Ram gives them more control on this front line, but ENCE in a beautiful position. They can just slow this all down now. Make VP take pushes into them in difficult situations. Push into this Blizzard if you dare.
Yeah, I mean, look, you say that, you know, you can't get any more broke than broke, but if only Virtus Pro could discover debt, because it is starting to feel like they actually need debt right now, because even when they have the ults and the enemy team has nothing to answer it, they're still losing now. So I think they just need to keep gambling. They just need to go deeper still, because now we've seen a bob from Shockwave, and it has just resulted in another fight.
This is the debt now. They've taken out credit. The interest rate's really high as well, so it's going to put him in a pickle. Kev still has this early Blizzard. He's going left-hand side now, being escorted by his good friend Kellex. And they'll look for this next opportunity. No great answers on the side of VP.
A little bit dicey now. Kevster has a nice angle up on the top left. He's holding this. Sauna gets walled off, has to pop the counter wall. Kev pushing in. He could go for the Blizzard here. Doesn't feel like it. There is the Blizzard now. That is going to catch Sauna outside of his block. So Sauna is probably waxed up. There we go. Canel's lamp taken as well. Galar, he was kind of just goofing around in main. But in the chaos, VP have actually managed to steal the cart. So, you know, this is a good fight for VP. Even though they've lost it, they've managed to, you know, get the cart all the way back to the center. So, you know, this is good.
I mean, it's only the Lucio, right? So Lucio will be back quick enough, but it all helps, right? And now, finally, since this comp swap, we're seeing them get to their first wave of ultimates. They've got 4 of them, so it is a big ult trade. But again, in these brawly matchups, Blizzard advantage can go a long way here. We might just see more of a standard window start here from Kanale.
I do think, you know, while a Blizzard advantage can go a long way, a Sauna Blizzard is, you know, questionable in terms of its monetary value. So we'll have to keep an eye on whether he can actually get something done versus a D.Va on that. It's going to be pretty difficult, I'd say. Now they're just getting stalled on the corner. Sauna throws up the wall and forces Vest to back, so a couple of meters, you know, slowly edged forward, but still, they need to figure out a way to break this neutral, and it is going to be on Sauna to do that. Pushing inside the left, poking out Vest just a little bit, but the high noon is invested from Kai in main. Oh, wow.
Oh, it's not a pretty one. Kev has Ice Block for this as well, so nobody's going to freeze, and Sauna's going to be left in no man's land, but it only saves him for a second, that lamp. Oh, wait, he just get out. They've somehow got Sauna out of that. Annihilation pop now from Rajaro, forces for beat out, later beat available for Gala, and somehow it's all swinging Virtus Pro's way. Now they beat slow onto Sky. They don't finish that kill, though. They lose Rajaro on their beat push, and somehow Sky's just... He will finally go down, but ends up turning this into a dogfight when it should have been a clear advantage for VP.
Yeah, no, I mean, it was a beat push, and Sauna, he managed to zone out Kai, but he didn't get any damage in on anyone because he chases Kai, Kai gets away, he starts chasing Gala, he starts chasing Kellex, Kellex gets away, a little bit dodgy. Apparently Rajaro did not get the beat, I'm being told, I'm not entirely sure, I can't confirm or deny that. Just a very dodgy fight overall. It looked like they were going to win the ult layering, but unfortunately, their credit is so bad, their gambling addiction so strong, that even when they're destined to win, they still manage to lose. They're so due for a win by now, surely. Nikki throws out the bob. Looks like it's been counter-walled.
Yeah, it doesn't go anywhere with this. They're still going to try and force their way through in this right-hand side, but Kai's got eyes on it too, so they're going to swing back out main, and they've just been fighting this uphill battle, both literally and figuratively, all game so far, it feels like. Rajaro's now going to try and make an aggressive move, but Shockwave's been booped out. I can't land a single shot, so I guess Shockwave gets to live. Now just stabilizing out the choke.
Fighting. Yeah, this right-hand room, Kevster is blocking 3. He has the Blizzard, so if anybody pushes aggressively into him, he will be able to go for that Blizzard. But Kai is actually the one to go down. Kevster, he's playing Icy Tracer right now, stealing the card away from Virtus Pro, but Gala, he's on that. He manages to block it. Gala does need to be careful, though, because Kev is always just a couple of shots away from taking you down.
Works out really nicely. We're talking about an uphill battle being so difficult for them, but VP, they show good initiative. They take that swing through the jump pad room, and all of a sudden, they get that opening, they get the one shot, they force a lamp from Sky in an awkward situation. They get the follow-up kills. Now they have the Kyriot coming back up. They still have to worry about Blizzard and Window and all these things, but Virtus Pro, 30 seconds on the clock, and they have a puncher's chance.
Yeah, no, they have the thinnest of chances. Kevster has the Blizzard. Blizzard is very difficult. Sauna decides that instead of riffing his Pulse Bomb, he's going to feed his Pulse Bomb to the gods above. He gives it to the defense matrix. Window committed from Sky, and Rajara is stuck in very deep, has to use the bomb. Not entirely sure whether he'll be able to get the resuit. It looks like he will. Kevster still has this Blizzard. Apparently, Diva losing a suit isn't enough of a cue to use her ult, Kevin. Use your fucking ult, man. He's waiting for the second D-suit. Here it is now. The Blizzard finally comes out, catches Rajara. Rajara gets Suzu'd. He freezes it. Nail keeps Rajaro alive. He does not get the live in the end, but it is a 4 versus 4, and Gala gets the beat drop off. It's a 4v4. Nikki has the Bob. Shockwave being pushed. They've actually capped the checkpoint in the chaos, so this is looking good. Kai uses the high noon. Vest loses his suit. Bob comes out. Bob do something. Kellex is going absolutely unreal. No, there's just no way. Virtus Pro, they genuinely have a chance here. Shockwave gets caught by Kevster on the recontest on the Tracer, and there is a chance. There's a very real chance now for VP to take this.
Kev's trade might come to pay dividends because Shockwave's going to be slow coming back in. We'll see if he makes a swap onto even just Soldier or something to get back in this fight. But one more fight we could do it. Sauna has pulse. It's going to be Venture. Sauna has a chance to be a hero.
He's not going to be a hero. We already know where this pulse is headed, mate. Get real. Kai in the spawn, potentially being spawn camped. He's marked it. There we go. Sauna whiffs it all. But in the chaos, Sky has thrown down the lamp. That is significant. A lamp advantage versus a comp like this is a very real chance. Shockwave, he drills in. He's under the ground. He's going for something. Gala, he has no chops on Lucio. He's dead to nothing. Vest loses his suit, but it's a 2-for-1 trade. It is not favorable at all for Virtus Pro. They're going to need a miracle. They're going to need some headshots from Kanale. It's looking like Rajara, he's playing in front of the cart. No cart cover. Not looking good at all. And unfortunately, it appears that Gala had a call with his good friend Egon Chalaki, an environmental scientist PhD, because he just had to get out of that map. He had to give it away.
There was a chance, maybe if a Kyriot was 10% closer or something, maybe if Shockwave didn't get traded in that fight before last, but ultimately it was a big comeback here, and it really took, I mean, it's a classic problem, right? If you don't start winning fights until the last couple of minutes of a push map, you're gonna have a real hard time, and maybe if with more time they could have won it, but a really bad start costs them ultimately. And we'll take a look at some numbers, because numbers can tell us information. Let's see. Shockwave 12 and 9, not feeling all that great about that. Kev's at 22 and 3. I think a lot of this is going to obviously be heavily weighted from that good start ENCE had. Again, Vessel at 25 and 3. Less than half the deaths of Rajaro on the other side of it as well. I really just felt like they were just in control of that map for so long. If anything, it's more shocking that they nearly gave it away at the end, rather than anything else. I presume Hunter's still trying to fix his audio, so we will get...
Yeah, no, unfortunately, you know, I need you to pull out a third waffle maker, Xavier, because I don't know how I've managed it, but yeah, I've managed to not have in-sync game audio, even though I've matched my sample rates like a month ago.
The good news is I've got a third waffle maker. The problem is I've only got 2 plug sockets. So let me go get an extension cord. Then we can get the extension cord plugged in. We'll plug in the third waffle maker, and then we should be sorted to get ourselves through this round 3 or through this round 4. Because we are getting the lineups finalized again, and I think for the most part, we've not seen Ramon in a hot second. I don't know if he's even in the continent right now. So all the eyes is on whether we're going to see Vessler or Chase. Obviously, the record so far has been if Chase is in, we're losing. If Vessler's in, we're winning. So it looks like it will be Vessler for Saravasa here. And we'll get a fairly quick kickoff. Everyone get into lobby nice and promptly. ENCE obviously now one map away from winning the series and taking it. As we go into Saravasa, again, it feels like we're probably going to see more of the Diva mirror. Potentially we're going to see Kiri Lucio. We've seen ENCE try and win the rollout comp quite a few times. Winning the rollout is something that's particularly important on any control point map, but particularly on Flashpoint, if you can snowball that into the first fight win, you'll feel pretty good about that. So eyes on Vessler out of spawn as well, whether he starts Zarya or Sigma, tries to anticipate and counter the Diva. To be fair, we've not actually seen it work both times they've done it, both on Lijiang Night Market and on Runa Sapi that we just saw. Neither of them worked, even though I like the idea, I like the theory, just weren't able to actually translate it into anything. And I think ultimately, if you're going to be running these counter comps, the fact that they swap it so quickly feels like they're really just trying to cheese the first fight, maybe rather than a comp they invest a lot of time and practice to in. So neither of them work out. Maybe they're toying with that idea again here.
Yeah, that was excellent, Waffle, bringing up Wamain 1. I feel like that's a really good way to, drag things out into lore of the team that, is not necessarily in front of us, but it produces a delicious waffle when you need it, I'm no closer to fixing my stream audio issues, but apparently that does not matter. I'm told that I've had them every single stream, and it just doesn't matter because nobody listens to the game audio anyway. So we'll have to fix that at a later date. Who fucking cares?
And they're
rolling into this next map, though. I mean, I do think that the comp that ENCE is on right now, it's better on this point than it was at the start of Runa Sapi, because right now you get to force like a really straight line. It's harder to get flanked, it's harder to get surrounded here, but still, Vess, he's used his entire shield. He's going to have to chill and wait until the unlock. Now, his shield is still recharging as the point unlocks. He has no shield again. This is no good for the side of ENCE. I think that it's actually going to be really difficult for them to get something done because Vess, he's so low on skills, he's so low on cooldowns. Already the point circle, it's half filled up. Rajara going deep for it though, and Shockwave is the one to go down. The peel is good. A shield blocks a little bit of damage for the side of VP. And Sauna's trade on Kev, I don't think it's going to be enough.
Yeah, in the end, quite patient from ENCE. To be honest, they were just wishing that they would dive all in there, I think. I think Vess was holding Baroque the entire time, clearly looking for that timing onto the Diva. Once she gets behind him, he got exactly that, then was able to full Matrix Kai. All felt really reasonable. I wonder if there was a world for VP there, though. He could have just either bled him out more, or just take the cap and force this comp to walk through that difficult choke, maybe. Make Vessler burn more resources, but now we have the retake, and Rajaro and Kaneo trying to get underneath here and round the side.
Yeah, no, it's looking incredibly #difficult for ENCE despite the fight wins. The margin is so slim. Nicky's Bob, though, taken down by the window, so now they're going to need to wait for their next layer of ultimates. And Rajaro, he's in a world of pain. He catches the Suzu, but Gala, oh god, get away from that rock, mate. You need to survive. Just one time, get a beat, man. Just one time. You're 97. If you change your aura to heals, you heal your teammates and build your ult. Somebody needs to tell this guy, because every time he's 90% on his beat and I watch his POV, he's just perma on speed. He doesn't know how to charge his fucking ult. It's unbelievable.
I think the main problem is you told him in English, whereas if you had told him in Spanish, I think you would have got the message through a little bit clearer. So,
chat, do we have anyone that speaks Spanish? We need to tell Galal when you're 90 on ult, try the yellow aura. Somebody can help me out here, surely.
What's Spanish for yellow? I want to say Amarilla. It's a guess. It's a pun, but we might work out.
Smash, the Korean coach, has dropped a vamos in the chat, so he's clearly a student of the game. All right, Kitsune Rush comes out for Kaneo, but unfortunately that only leads to Kaneo's life being converted to dead. Know Yourself, the third Lucio player being thrown out now from the side of Virtus Pro, from ENCE. He gets nothing, but Kai, he's just ripping heads off. So this is going to be another fight win for ENCE. Oh, Kai, he's getting montage clips right now. Can we get another? Nah, useless.
Yeah, Giles got his way out of that one, and they do come back with the beat here as well. But if you look again, the ult bank from ENCE, and this is starting to become maybe a little bit of a familiar situation here. ENCE with just all of the ults in the world. VP are going to regroup. They can maybe start with Bob, beat to follow up, but they've got to worry about Blizzard. They've got to worry about Window. The Window will kill that Bob. They've got to worry about Flux. That could force their beat. Really tricky situation here for VP. Need a bit of a, magic pick from someone.
We've got ourselves a diagnosis of anxiety here because there's a few too many things that need to be worried about right now. Window comes down, as does the beat from Gala. Maybe there could be a point flip, and this is actually a very good exchange for Virtus Pro. Getting point cap in all of this, you know, even if they lose the fight, not the end of the world. Right now, trading 1 for 2, you still can't be too unhappy with that. Now it's 2 for 2. It's an even fight. But the people that are still alive, they still have the ultimates. And Virtus Pro, they're not slowing down. They just keep pushing and pushing. And then suddenly it's Sauna in a 1 versus 3 situation. And I mean, I'm going to be honest, I don't think I can back him no matter what. This is still an incredibly good fight for VP. I cannot understate it, you know? That was 2 ultimates invested there for ENCE, and they've lost the cap. So they've gone down 46% of free cap that they should have been able to maintain with their comp. This was really, it was a good fight for VP despite all of the worry.
I don't know. I've still got anxiety about this next fight because now we're pushing into free ult, so it sort of needs to try and be another efficient one, maybe just an aggressive play. We see Sauna and Gala going down this right-hand side. Need to try and make something work because they get the lamp out, actually. Sky's going to rotate inside. Anyone to catch that? No. Sauna and Gala's timing not quite in sync with the rest of these teams, so they're able to clear Sauna, then kite into the space they just cleared. They still go 1 for 1 here. Coach Gun still caught by the flux, but Shockwave will live, and they get the beat. All the ults are coming out, and I think it should be enough for ENCE with that D-Mech. Kaneo has the Kitsune Rush, a chance to clutch if he really feels it, but it's 3 versus 5. It's really difficult.
Oh, and he's doing it anyway. What are you thinking, man? You just watched your D.Va die. Your Tracer's dead. Nobody can even touch without suiciding, and he goes for that. Somebody needs to tell VP not every fight is winnable. I swear, they put themselves in these incredible situations where it's just unwinnable because they keep fucking tossing ults into lost fights. It's the same as Runasapi at the beginning, you know? It's a 2 versus 5, and we see Kaneo throwing his ultimate in. Again, he keeps going for it.
And what happens as well is what you normally get in Flashpoint is there's some fights that are super winnable because you have ult advantage, then maybe you set yourself up for a good retake because it swings back in your favor after trying to take a difficult fight. Because they try and clutch in these difficult fights, they just never have that advantage. They have Bob and Beat now, but it's still a relatively even ult situation. Window to counter for Bob, Blizzard to factor in as well, and now ENCE are walking through inside, but Kev's just going to die before anything happens, but Bob comes hurtling through, and now, all of a sudden, VP finally get their first bit of success in this map. A bit of a wow in chat from Shockwave. They'll clean everything up. And Vessel die a little bit late here as well. They're going to stagger him.
Yeah, no, very late death there from Vest. Point capped as well. Wonderful play from Shockwave that, again, I managed to catch none of. I don't know how he keeps doing it off screen. It's something about when he's not being watched, you know? He must have a little bit of stage fright. Because anytime I watch him, all he does is blow his load early and then die. So I don't have to... I don't know, maybe we'll have to talk to Tabby about how we get over the stage fright for him and how he actually performs. Because he's clearly capable of doing it. It's just not happening when I'm watching him.
Gonna see Kev trying to score his team through his left-hand side. Will wall off this leader. Rajara's gonna catch a rock, which means he's super low. Does have bomb. Will try and hold on to it, though. Window out from Sky. Pressure onto Gala, but Kev can't find the final shot. They still have Blizzard, and they've successfully rotated their team to point. VP are just coming behind them. They'll beat through. Rock is avoided. Defensive wall on point. Kellex is going to come over the wall, but he's the only one over the wall. Sorry, that's Gala. A little bit scary for him. They do get onto point. Kev still has Ice Block, but refuses to press it. And now, all of a sudden, VP with a chance in this fight, but not if Kai keeps hitting headshots like this. And they get the flip. They get control of point. And Kai will get the third one, too.
Yeah, look, I think that was actually not the worst fight for VP. You know, I'm really trying to give him a little bit of lip service here, you know, a little bit of benefit of the doubt. I think the fact that they fought so far up, they fought early, meant that, you know, they were actually able to force an ultimate out of Sky. They were able to get more ultimates than they otherwise would have. So fighting forward was good there because they were able to get essentially 2 fights worth of ultimates instead of 1. Because as soon as ENCE's comp gets to the point, things are very, very difficult. No, you cannot get any lip service nooge. Unfortunately not. That is a special thing reserved for special people. Anyway, Kaneo now on the point, throws down the Kitsune Rush, but Kevster, he hits the counter wall, and Shockwave has actually been caught out. Now it's 60%. If they can get the flip, it could be huge. It doesn't look like they're going to be able to do it. Vess is able to juggle the point on the corner, and there are so many ultimates online for ENCE. If they want them, they can start throwing them in. Kaneo, he gets that Suzu a little bit too late. The beat comes down from Kellex, and that is probably going to be the death of VP unless we see some unbelievable clutch performances coming out.
Should just be clean up here. They've got all the ults to deal with it. They force the TP out. One more desperate touch maybe from the Tracer here. Sauna is in position for it. Can get another one too as well. They're not really clearing out Sauna, so we can get another one. Window now used, making this next touch even more dangerous for Sauna. Down he falls, and it should just be a slow death onto point. Shockwave has a bob, but they're going to need more than that to get him out of this one, and that will be ENCE taking the series.
Yeah, no, it's looking a little difficult, to be honest, for the side of Virtus Pro. I think that this Sigma stuff, you know, on Runasapi, the angles were wide, but here, I mean, it was just a bit too much for them to deal with, you know? Too many straight line fights that can be taken, and they just didn't quite have what it takes to get over the line.
To be fair, but
anyone that types 995, ugh.
To be fair, that fight before last one, like the one that wasn't just for like stagger, try and get the touch fight. What they had is they had their Kyrian Diva coming through main, through Cubby, if you know where that is, like the one straight to point from the staircase. Then they had their Lucio Tracer on one side, Shockwave coming on the left-hand side, and it looked like a really well set up fight to try and win a low ult advantage situation. But then Shockwave, who's by himself on the left, shoots early, not to again point out against the premature nature of Shockwave's decision-making, but he shoots early, at which point he obviously gives the game away of where he's standing, at which point ENCE are able to key on to the fact that Nat Ash is by himself. If we just run at Nat Ash, we'll probably kill him. They do exactly that, and suddenly ENCE get themselves not just a kill, but they get themselves out of the dangerous pincer setup Nat VP had, and it... Yeah. I mean, maybe as we expected, your prediction on point. 3-1.
Yeah, just a little gamble, to be honest. I mean, did Chase lose his map?
Yeah.
Yeah. Someone's saying predictions pay out. You can't make me do that. That's a moderator's job. Yeah, I mean, Chase, you know, you put him in for a Winston map, but at the end of the day, you are playing Winston in Europe, which means that you're destined to lose. You're destined to lose. All right. Is it time for take 2 on fixing the audio? Do I just resign myself to never fixing this issue? What do you reckon?
Well, we've got a patch of time now, right? Because we're 46 minutes away from our next game. So if there was a time to fix it,
I do have a pretty healthy chunk.
This feels like a window of opportunity.
Yeah, I'll see what it sounds like. You know, see how bad this really is. Maybe I'm just being lied to. Maybe it never existed.
To be fair, if it's got to this degree and it turns out it is just in fact your chat gaslighting you, then huge respect to your chat. They've got you.
Yeah. Well, oh, okay. I'm being begged to fix it.
How do you feel if I told you Kellex only had 1 death on that map as well? He's in the audio zone. Alright, so for the YouTube heads, I will end the recording here as we'll be moving into our next fixture very shortly. So that seals that one. It will be X-Oblivion versus Super Shy next, a bit of a rematch from OWCS, so stay tuned for that one. And I'll see you in the next one.